Hello fellow hunters, JBizHunts here with a video that's going to answer the big question. What is the easiest great one grind in the hunter call the wild? If you're looking to start your very first great one grind, or you're planning the best setup for your next one, this ranking is for you. I'll be counting down every great one species from the hardest to the easiest, while also covering the best map to set up on so you'll have the smoothest path possible to your next great one. Now, just to be clear, this isn't a video about which great one spawns the fastest. Some players do get lucky early, but this ranking is all about the grind setup itself. How tough or how simple it is to just make it run. And if you're wondering about herd management strategies for any of these grinds, I've got other videos that dive into those in detail. For now, let's just jump into the list. So let's dive in. Coming in at number 9, the hardest great one to grind in my opinion is the red fox. Your best bet for grinding for them is on Salzwiessen Park using what the community calls the island method. What makes foxes the toughest is a combination of factors. They're small predator species, which means hitting them cleanly is trickier than something big like a moose. Their drink time happens right at dusk, straddling sundown, so visibility is rough, and you're not always big enough to just spot them here and there. As predators, their zones are often solos or pairs. Pair zones are the real pain. You need to shoot both the male and the female to keep the respawns flowing. Since only males can be great ones, that basically doubles the number of harvests that you need. To make it harder, every time you shoot out a zone, guess what? You'll have to rediscover where they respawn somewhere in their home region. The island method does help by funneling most of the respawns back to that single island on Salzwiessen Park, but even then, the grind is a serious test of patience. At number 8, we've got the Himalayan tahr. Personally, I'd rank them a little higher on this list, but for the community overall, second hardest feels right. You can only grind tahr on 2 maps currently, Sundar Patan and tahr, with tahr being the easiest choice. Why? Because it is roughly half the zones that Sundar Patan has. So there's less time wasted tracking everything down. But the real challenge is how they behave. They live only on the mountains. They don't have a drink time, and you'll be forced to grind them during their feed zones. That means lots of rotations and glassing. Even though they often feed in the open, their terrain itself, brush, ridges, and sometimes broken sightlines, makes them tough to consistently spot and hunt. So, between tricky terrain and no drink time, tahr deserves their spot near the top of this difficulty list. Number 7 is the ringneck pheasant. Now, they're still tough, but a lot more manageable than tahr or fox. Salzwiessen Park is once again the go-to map, and it's perfect for the grind. This map only has around 30 to 40 zones, and since it's a small map, it's easier to cover ground. Pheasants feed in the open, usually in farmers' fields, so they're just simpler to locate. Yes, solos can be annoying, and if you want a full score harvest, you're going to have to shoot them mid-air because they're an upland bird, which is tricky, but here's the catch. You don't need to worry about that unless it's a diamond or a rare. For grinding, you can just blast them grounded like you would a herd of deer. Because of that flexibility, plus the fact that they move in groups in wide open fields, pheasants are still challenging, but definitely a step easier than the fox or tahr grinds. And of course, just like tahr, they do not have a drink time, so you're gonna have to find them during their feed zones. At number 6, we've got the very first predator species to ever receive a great one, the black bear. Now, some folks might say I rank them too high here since being a predator with solo drink zones, every time you drop one, you've got to go on a bit of a wild goose chase to find its respawn. But thanks to a fellow content creator I buy premiums and his 4-lake method on Silver Ridge Peaks, the grind isn't nearly as bad as it sounds. In the far northwest corner of the map, there are 4 lakes that act like a mini home range. Respawns bounce around between the 4 lakes, and with a couple of well-placed tents, you can keep everything tight and efficient and flowing. The trick is, by swapping the females that are already on the lake with bigger males scattered across the entire map, To do this, shoot both the female and the male that you want to replace, but don't pick them up. Leave both bodies on the ground, back out to the main menu, and when you and that'll force them into the respawn together, and there's about a 50-50 chance they'll switch. Build up about 8 to 15 males in that 4-lake zone and put them on rotation, and you're golden. All right, fellow hunters, we've hit the halfway point, and from here on out, it's all antlered great ones. Honestly, a few of these next spots could be swapped around, but here's why I put them where I did. At number 5 is the Great One Moose Grind, and for me, the go-to map is Medved Taiga. The big advantage here is that the lakes are frozen, so you don't really need pickup tents. Just walk right across the ice to claim your harvest. Moose, though, they are trickier than the other deer species for a couple of reasons. First, they drink all over the map on every map that they're on, and on most reserves you're looking at about 100 to 200 zones to uncover. Second, they're absolute tanks. Even a 300 Magnum single lung shot often means a tracking job. Still, they're easier than bears, foxes, tahr, pheasants, because they do have reliable daytime drink zones, and their size and dark coats make them easier to spot. Solo bulls can still add a little bit of difficulty, but overall, moose aren't a hard grind, just a tedious one, and if you're using herd management, that could take a little bit more longer. That's why they're right in the middle of this list. Coming in at number 4 is the red deer, and one of the easiest great ones to grind for, especially on Aotearoa. With fewer than 40 drink zones to manage, it's a walk in the park compared to Emerald Coast or Cuatro Colinas, where you're looking at 60 plus zones. On Aotearoa, they do stick to a very defined home range, which makes them even simpler to keep track of. Their drink time is early morning, which is a nice bonus, though solo stags still pop up here and there and add a little bit more of a challenge if you're using herd management. If you're running a herd management grind, red deer can be a little tougher to balance since they do top out at a legendary level 9. By comparison, the top 3 on this list max out at a level 5 medium, which makes them just a little easier to manage when you're looking at the numbers. At number 3, we've got one of my personal favorites, the fallow deer on Aotearoa. I've already got 6 great ones from them, and for a good reason. They're a class 4 species that only go up to a level 5 medium, which means you can use an overpowered rifle on your culls for quick, clean harvest, and you do not need to track them as far. Aotearoa has around 35 zones, with about 20 of them being herd zones, which keeps things manageable. They'd probably rank even higher if not for the solo males, but if you target those early in your grind, herd management becomes much smoother, trust me. Their main home range is on the eastern part of the map, with the coastal zones being the only real challenge. Consistent respawns make fallow deer a great choice for anyone starting their first grind or learning the ins and outs of herd management. The runner-up at number 2 is the OG great one, the whitetail deer. Still the most popular great one in the community to grind, and it's easy to see why. Iconic antlers, straightforward setup, and a fun, rewarding grind. Personally, I prefer Layton Lakes, but Reventuli is also a fantastic choice. Layton keeps them mainly on the west side of the map, while Reventuli gives you the entire northern 2/3. Either way, they're confined to herd zones only, no solos. That's a huge bonus if you're using herd management, especially for the first time. Plus, they only go up to a level 3 very easy. That means if you shoot everything labeled 2 or 3 and leave those ones alone, you're set. It really doesn't get much easier than that, except it actually does. Finally, at number 1, the mule deer. Honestly, any of the top 3 could take this spot, but mule deer edge out the rest for a few key reasons. On Askey Ridge, their entire home range is confined to the west side lakes only, about 20 in total. With tents or outposts, you can rotate through all of them with ease. My every lake method, which Lady Legend, even credited for helping her land 2 great ones, is the perfect system here. Solos don't matter since they're just part of the rotation. Both of my great ones actually came from solo respawns, to be honest. Herd management is simple too. Just shoot anything weighing 140 to 170 kgs or above. It's easy to set up, simple scouting, and streamlined management, all make mule deer the easiest great one to grind for in the game, or to even set up a grind. And let's be honest, they look incredible. And that wraps up my ranking of the easiest great one grinds in the Hunter Call of the Wild. Whether you're just getting started with your first great one, or you're a seasoned grinder looking for a new challenge, I hope this breakdown gives you a clear path on where to start. If you've already spawned one of these great ones, let me know down in the comments which grind you found the easiest, or maybe even the hardest. I love hearing all of your stories and comparing notes with fellow hunters. Don't forget to hit that like button if this video has helped you out in any way, and subscribe if you want more guides, rankings, and maybe even some crazy great one theories coming your way. And as always, fellow hunters, happy hunting.